Met my boss on the beach at the worst possible moment. The sun was low, the sky painted in soft shades of orange and pink, and I was staring, frozen, like a deer in headlights. She crossed her arms, raised one eyebrow, and said, "Clear as day, where are you looking?" "My eyes are up here." My heart dropped straight into the sand. Before I tell you what happened next, take a second to hit subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Here on your channel name, we share real stories that remind us how powerful simple kindness can be. You never know, one small act might change someone's life, including your own. Now let me tell you what really happened that evening. It had been a brutal week at work. I'm a junior marketing assistant at a mid-sized tech company in San Diego. I'd only been there 6 months, still learning the ropes, still trying to prove I deserved my spot. And my boss, Lauren Mitchell, was the kind of leader who made you want to work harder without ever raising her voice. She was sharp, confident, always composed, and intimidating. That Friday, I had completely messed up a presentation. I had sent the wrong data to a client, an error that cost us credibility and almost cost the company a contract. Lauren didn't yell at me. She didn't shame me. She simply said, "We'll fix it, but we need to talk Monday." Those words haunted me all weekend. So Saturday evening, trying to clear my head, I went down to Pacific Beach. The ocean has always been my reset button. The sound of waves, the smell of salt in the air, it makes my problems feel smaller. I kicked off my shoes and walked along the shore, watching families pack up their umbrellas and couples stroll hand in hand. I was so deep in my own head that I didn't notice her at first. Lauren was about 30 feet away, walking toward the water. She wasn't in her usual sharp blazer and heels. She was wearing a simple blue swimsuit with a white cover-up tied loosely around her waist. Her hair, normally in a sleek bun, fell in soft waves around her shoulders, and I stared. Not because I was being disrespectful on purpose, but because I was shocked. You know that strange feeling when you see someone outside the place your brain has assigned them? Like running into your teacher at the grocery store when you were a kid. It feels almost wrong. She noticed me before I could look away. She stopped, planted her feet in the sand, and said firmly, "Where are you looking? My eyes are up here." Time froze. I felt heat rush to my face. "Oh my gosh, Lauren, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, I was just surprised to see you." She studied me for a second. Then something unexpected happened. She laughed. Not a fake corporate laugh, a real one. The kind that crinkles your eyes and makes your shoulders shake. "Relax," she said. "I'm just teasing you." I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "You scared me." "Good," she said with a playful smile. "Now you know how you all look when I walk into a meeting room." We stood there awkwardly for a moment, waves rolling in at our feet. I thought about making an excuse and leaving, but she surprised me again. "Bad week?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah, I keep replaying that presentation mistake in my head." She looked out at the horizon before responding. "You know why I wasn't angry?" I shook my head. "Because you cared," she said. "If you didn't care, you wouldn't look like someone just canceled Christmas." That made me laugh despite myself. She sat down in the sand, motioning for me to join her. I hesitated. Was this allowed? But she was just a person on a beach, not a boss in a boardroom. So I sat. For the first time, she didn't feel intimidating. She felt human. "Do you know what my first job was?" she asked. I shook my head again. "I was a cashier at a small grocery store in Ohio. First week, I accidentally gave away $200 in wrong change. My manager had to cover it out of his own pocket." "That's awful," I said. "It was," she agreed. "I cried in my car for an hour. I was sure I'd be fired." "What happened?" "He bought me coffee the next day, told me, 'You made a mistake. That's different from being a mistake.'" The words hit me hard. She continued. That moment stuck with me. I decided that if I ever led a team, I'd remember how that felt. The ocean breeze lifted strands of her hair as she spoke. She didn't look like a corporate executive. She looked like someone who had been scared once too. "I'm sorry about today," I said quietly. "I feel like I let you down." She turned to face me fully. "You didn't let me down. You made a mistake. The only way you let me down is if you stop trying." I swallowed. "I thought you were going to fire me." She smiled gently. "If I fired every person who made a mistake, I'd be working alone." We sat in silence for a while, watching surfers catch the last waves of the day. Then she said something that changed the way I see leadership and kindness forever. "Kindness isn't about being soft," she said. "It's about remembering that everyone is fighting something you can't see." She told me that her mother had been diagnosed with breast cancer 3 months earlier, that she had been flying back and forth between California and Ohio on weekends, that she had barely been sleeping. "And yet," she said, "I still expect excellence, but I try to lead with grace, because I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed." Suddenly, my small mistake felt exactly that, small. I realized I had been so wrapped up in my own anxiety that I hadn't considered what she might be carrying. The sun dipped lower, turning the sky into a watercolor painting. "Can I ask you something?" I said. "Sure. Why did you tease me about where I was looking?" She laughed again. "Because you looked like you were about to faint. I figured humor would snap you out of it. It worked." Before we left, she stood up and brushed sand from her legs. "Monday," she said, "we fixed the presentation, together. Together." That word echoed in my mind all weekend. On Monday, she kept her promise. Instead of criticizing me in front of the team, she called me into her office and walked through the corrections step by step. She even shared her grocery store story with the team during our meeting. "Mistakes happen," she said to everyone. "What matters is how we respond." The atmosphere in the room shifted. People spoke more openly. Ideas flowed more freely. It was like her kindness had given everyone permission to breathe. A few weeks later, one of my coworkers made a similar error. I saw the panic in his eyes, the same panic I had felt. I remembered the beach, the waves, the words, "You made a mistake." That's different from being a mistake. So I walked over and said, "Hey, we'll fix it. You're good." The relief on his face was immediate, and that's when I understood something powerful. Kindness spreads. It moves quietly from one heart to another. From a grocery store manager in Ohio to a young woman crying in her car. From that woman, now a boss, to a nervous employee on a California beach. And from that employee to someone else. All because someone chose compassion instead of anger. That evening on the beach, I thought I was facing humiliation. Instead, I found humanity. I learned that leaders are people, that confidence can exist alongside vulnerability, and that the strongest workplaces and communities are built not on fear, but on grace. Sometimes kindness looks like buying coffee for a young cashier who messed up. Sometimes it looks like sitting in the sand with a worried employee. And sometimes it starts with a playful reminder to lift your eyes. If there's one thing I want you to take from this story, it's this. You never know who needs your understanding. The cashier who gets your order wrong, the coworker who misses a deadline, the stranger who seems distracted. Behind every mistake is a human being. So the next time you have a choice between criticism and compassion, choose compassion. It might feel small, it might feel ordinary, but it could be the moment someone remembers for the rest of their life. And who knows, years from now they might pass that same kindness on, because of you. Let's build a world where grace is stronger than judgment, where we look people in the eyes, not to shame them, but to see them. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder that kindness matters. And tell me in the comments, what's one small act of kindness you'll choose this week? Until next time, remember, you are never just your worst mistake, and a little kindness can change everything.